meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated by the agenda. The meeting site is fully accessible. Any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation central office. As is our custom, before we begin, we open with a word of prayer. Mr. Parks.
Heavenly Father, just thank you for this opportunity for us to come and do the business of the school system. I pray for your guidance of all of us on this board. But I also just pray for each family, each child, each administrator, teacher in this system, that we may just continue to be blessed and just guide us as we lead the future generation of this world. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Okay, we'll call this meeting to order now and begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. And we actually have some students here this evening that I believe are going to come forward and do that for us. So those of you who are leading the pledge, if you could come forward and everyone stand. Thank you very much. Roll call. We do have everyone here this evening in person, so we have a full quorum. Mission statement, Mr. Parks.
Lebanon Community School Corporation will cultivate and reach every student by influencing and enriching their lives through the power of education, and do so in a positive and safe learning environment.
All right, thank you. Item 2, approval of minutes for the March 16th regular meeting. Like a motion to approve those, please. Second, please.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments on those minutes? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, minutes pass. Item 3, certified executive session content. We also had an executive session on March 16th to discuss the purchase or lease of real property. I'd like a motion to approve those minutes, please.
I'll motion.
Okay, thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Any questions on that? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the motion passes. Item 4, consent agenda staff matters. Dr. Milliman.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. This evening, under staff matters for the classified staff, bring forward 3 food service workers, 2 custodial positions, 1 seasonal grounds position, 2 instructional assistants, and 1 substitute nurse position. For our certified recommendations this evening, we have 2 resignations, 1 retirement, and 1 recommendation to hire this evening, the new teaching staff. And under our ECA, we have a softball coach at the high school, 4 coordinator sponsor positions at the high school, including the Sunshine Society, say that slowly, special education support and coordinators, as well as senior class sponsor. And that's what I have for our recommendations this evening.
Okay, excellent, thank you. Like a motion to approve the staff matters as presented by Dr. Milliman.
I'll motion.
Okay, a second on that? Any questions on those items? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, the staff matters have passed.
Thank you, Ms. Keith. I would like to take a moment with that consent agenda item in the board's action. One of those is retirement of longtime math teacher Lisa Woolley at the middle school. We just want to take a moment. We'll thank all of our retirees here later in the spring appropriately, but with that board action, I just want to pause and thank her for her service to our students and our school district. You know, you've heard me say many times, education is not just a profession, it's a calling. I believe that. And so I always want to pause and thank those who've answered that call and have made such a difference for our students. So congratulations to her. We always miss our retirees. Congratulate her on whatever that next chapter may be. It's always sometimes, and in this case was, a little tearful delivery of a personally delivered envelope to the superintendent in that case. And again, so thank her for that. Also, the board action this evening, you approved the hiring of our new Lebanon High School band director. And I'm very, very pleased to announce him this evening, and he is here with us. Thank you for weathering the blizzard of April of 2021 and being here this evening. Mr. Jacob Kessler is now officially the Lebanon High School band director, and I know that Mr. O'Rourke assembled a team of parents, of staff, administrators, and we were not easy on our candidates. We were very hard on them in a good way until we were able to find someone that emerged as a clear choice that we felt to lead this program into the future. Jacob and Mr. O'Rourke are here this evening. Maybe you'd like to step forward, maybe say a couple words if you want to, Mr. O'Rourke, and introduce Mr. Kessler to the group. I'll have to ask you to come to the podium so all the people on camera can see both of you.
His third interview. As Dr. Milliman stated, I do want to take a second and thank Rebecca Carter, Andy Wolfgang, Amanda Wines, Alan Conrad, Barb Springer, Gwen Sheff, Michael Reynolds. They were all instrumental in this process. We had about, I think, 34 applicants, had a really good applicant pool. And honestly, we were looking for a pretty experienced band director, but we had heard so many great things about this young man coming out of IU that we decided to interview him, and he blew us away. He really hit the mold of what we're looking for, both in our school corporation and also in our band program. And so we just knew he was the right person. And then Dr. Milliman and I sat down with him, and I think we concurred through an hour long of some really great questions back and forth, affirmed that we've got a great young man that happens to be also a great brand director for our program. So I'm proud to introduce to you Jacob Kessler.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you to Mr. O'Rourke and Dr. Milliman for the interview and recommending you hire me. First job, and I cannot be more excited to be here to serve the students of Lebanon. I've known so many people who graduated from this high school, and it's truly an honor to be the next band director here. So thank you.
Welcome, sir.
Welcome.
Very good. Saw the Purdue diploma in my office. He might have got a little nervous, but he made it through. So,
Congratulations.
once again, congratulations. Make sure you celebrate this evening.
All right. Moving on to item 5, consent agenda business matters. Mr. Tate.
It's my pleasure to report to the board, the community this evening, our expenditures through March 31st. Our education fund is at 21.12%, operations fund at 18.05%. At this time, I'd ask for approval of claims numbered 53069 through 53243. The payrolls dated March 19th, April 2nd, and April 16th of 2021. The claims totaled $2,253,213.86. The three payrolls totaled $2,462,960.91 for a total of $4,716,174.77.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Board, I'd like a motion to approve claims for payment 53069 through 53243 and payrolls for March 19th, April 2nd, and April 16th, please.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second on that? Any questions? Okay, no questions. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion
Thank you.
passes. Thank you. Item 6, board recognition. Dr. Milliman.
Yes, I will call to the stand. All of a sudden, I'm a judge.
We have a
Yes, Your
guy.
Honor.
I'm not a doctor of jurisprudence, trust me. You do not want me judging anyone. To the podium, Mrs. Scott for this evening, thank you.
Well, good
You're all witnesses, all you students are coming up, you're in trouble.
Good evening. I'm excited to bring forward the April Tiger Pride champions on this snowy evening. Tonight we have with us, representing Lebanon High School, would be Natalie Defoe, if Natalie would come forward. And I'll share the remarks from the staff at the high school. And before I get started, I would like to say too, this month Dr. Milliman and I actually had the opportunity, the COVID has brought about some positive changes. We were excited to be able to go to the classrooms to notify each of these students personally about being recognized at tonight's board meeting. So they've already received a Tiger Pride t-shirt and then agreed to come this evening as well. So I wanted to make sure we shared that. So the staff at the high school shared that Natalie exemplifies all aspects of pride in all that she does as a student and a servant leader here at LHS. She's kind, considerate, compassionate, respectful, and encouraging to everyone. She has an incredible emotional quotient for her age, person her age, and her impressive maturity allows her to be an outstanding ambassador for our school and community. She has an intrinsic desire to serve others while helping those she serves become the best version of themselves. LHS is very blessed to have Natalie as a student leader for the past 4 years. Congratulations, Natalie. Next up from Lebanon High School, we also have Garrett Harker with us this evening. Garrett is an outstanding young man who consistently embodies all aspects of pride. While being a highly visible and successful student athlete at LHS, Garrett has found an endearing way to be humble and extremely considerate. He keenly recognizes that he becomes a better person when he finds value in others. He's patient, polite, and intrinsically kind. He understands the value of being a servant leader, and through serving others, he models pride. Congratulations, Garrett. From Lebanon Middle School, we have Karen Miller, and she was unable to be with us this evening, but I did want to share the words that were shared about Karen. They shared that she's an exceptional student in person. She cares about her academics, does all the work that's asked of her, and always asks many questions to make sure she's doing her work correctly. She's kind, helpful, and everything you want in your own child. She cares about excellence and does not settle for mediocrity. So congratulations to Karen from Lebanon Middle School. We are pleased to have Luke Shirley with us this evening from Central Elementary, nominated by his teacher, Mrs. Larman. So, Luke. Mrs. Larman shared that it's a great pleasure to honor Luke. He shows great leadership inside and outside of the building. He's focused when at school. You can often find him prioritizing his tasks, finding happiness for others' success, and ensuring that everyone gets a chance to participate. He also finds ways to help others when he isn't at school, whether he's picking up trash around the block, helping his dad work on cars, or playing with his team on the court. He leads with excellence. Luke radiates Tiger pride. Congratulations, Luke. And from Harney, nominated by Mr. Farrell, was Chase Davis, and Chase is also not with us this evening. Chase is an outstanding leader in the classroom and outside the classroom and in his academics. He always strives for his best in everything that he does, and he comes to school with his dream of being a computer graphic designer and tries to live that dream every day. He uses pride to help him achieve his lofty goals that he sets for himself. Congratulations, Chase. Nominated by Mr. Allen from Hattie B. Stokes is Aaliyah Moore. Well, Dr. Milliman and I were visiting Aaliyah's class. We learned about her paper she was writing, and we shared that the seniors were working on a research project when we visited them too, so it was exciting. So we're proud to recognize Aaliyah. She does her very best on every single assignment. She works hard to go above and beyond and pushes herself to be a better student and person today than she was yesterday. She perseveres through difficult situations and thinks carefully about her decisions. She's a person who Mr. Allen can trust to make the right choices even when he is not looking. She treats every person with courtesy, honesty, and respect, and has empathy for others in less fortunate situations. We're proud to recognize Aaliyah Moore. Congratulations. And from Perry Worth, recognized by Mr. Lorch, is Oscar Frazee. Oscar. Mr. Lorch shared that when considering who regularly exhibits the pride behavior, Oscar is an easy choice. He always turns his work on time, is a role model for other students, and also displays a positive attitude and willingness to help those around him. Way to go, Oscar. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mrs. Scott. Congratulations to all of you. Item 7, superintendent announcements and celebrations.
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. First off, we wanted to take a moment to tell you we're proud of our transportation department. We usually are, but they are preparing once again for state inspection. And over spring break, Jenny Allen, one of our drivers, is thrilled to have actually some students who gave up time of their spring break to help clean the buses and get them prepared for inspection. She had 4 students that helped her clean the 4 spare buses, which don't get the TLC that on a daily basis. So we want to thank them and her for doing that and getting those buses ready for inspection. If we have folks out there that know their students that are headed for kindergarten next year, we invite you to share our newest video. You can find it on our Facebook page, Twitter, all of our social media outlets. It's called Cleat Goes to Kindergarten. The future kindergarten students and parents can follow our mascot Cleat as he attends a day of kindergarten. And this was a great project done by Hallie Montgomery, one of our seniors, as part of her work-based learning project. Hallie's been interning with Jen Totterud in our communications office and has done an outstanding job for us. And so we thank her for that and encourage you all to find that video and maybe share it with others. It's a lot of fun. We're also proud to announce that Central Elementary received the honor of Lighthouse certification by the Leader in Me program from the Franklin Covey Corporation. They, as you know, is part of that Leader in Me program, which is based on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective Peoples. Central Elementary is only the 5th school in Indiana to achieve this honor of more than 65 Leader in Me schools across the state. And Central joins 500 schools in the U.S. that have met this rigorous standard of Lighthouse certification. This was no easy feat. It's more than just a footnote in the announcements. The staff and students have worked for at least 4 years, right, to earn this. And there's a lot of documentation, a lot of site visits, a lot that goes into this. So congratulations to Mrs. Alcott, Mr. Salzman, the entire Central team. And we congratulate them for that well-earned award and honor. Central also reached their goal of reading 1 million minutes in April. All Central Tiger Cubs became reading millionaires and celebrated their accomplishments with Literacy Week and activities. Are teachers getting duct taped to the wall this year for that accomplishment, or no? Passing on that. Okay, last year I think there was some sort of, or a couple years ago there was that award. So looking forward to more reading from all of our students. I would like to just say that it's been great over the last several weeks to start getting back to some semblance of normalcy. I was able to attend our senior dinner, attended by some folks that I see out here this evening. They did a great job. It was just awesome to be around the kids. We have our prom Saturday night at the fairgrounds. I know the students are looking forward to that, and staff as well. Our awards night will be the 12th, Mr. Rourke, yes. Students will be live in person here. We'll be live streaming that, so we encourage people to go out to our YouTube channel to view that, parents and community that like to see that. We're chugging along. We'll be having our senior top 20 breakfast with the board soon, and so we're getting into that part of the year. I know our seniors are excited about it as well, right? So we'll see if we can have better weather for our outdoor graduation than we're enduring this evening, all right? And last, I would just like to mention there's been some big announcements that happened from the State House this afternoon, from the governor's office and from Speaker Houston, that there's been some a little bit better than projected revenue forecast for the state of Indiana, and they're planning to pass some of that along to public schools. And so I want to take a moment to thank the governor's office and the legislators at the State House for recognizing that need. We're still, of course, sorting out what that means and what that will mean specifically for Lebanon schools. But we talk about needing more funding all of the time, and when any little bit comes our way, I want to make sure that I take the opportunity to thank them for recognizing that. And that's all I have for this evening's announcements.
Great, thank you. Thank you very much. All right, item 8, comments from the public. Do we have anyone signed in? All right. Before we move on, I know there are a lot of students, and I probably should have said this a couple items ago. If you would like to go ahead and leave, we'll take a minute or two. I know you're interested in the roof repairs, but you might have homework to do, we understand. Sorry, Mr. Tate, right before you again. Thank you. Okay, item 9. Action items, Mr. Tate, you have some contracts to present to us this evening.
Yes, we opened bids last week on 3 major projects that have been planned in the 2018 GO bond. That's been funded. The bids are in your background notes for each of these, the companies that bid and their bid, and the recommendations from STR Building who helped put the specifications together. And then Jim Walling worked with them, and we reviewed the bids, and these are our recommendations this time. For the high school roof work, we are recommending we accept the bid of Superior Roofing, the base and the alternate at $68,019. That's for high school roof work. Asphalt work at the middle school, recommending we accept the bid from Triangle Asphalt of $143,050, also the base plus the alternate. And for some brick and wall restoration throughout the corporation, recommend Chemna Restoration at $274,250. Request approval of all 3 of those.
Okay,
Work
thank
to be
you.
done this summer.
Okay. All right, we will take those 3 items as one motion. If someone would like to make a motion to approve the high school roof work, asphalt work at the middle school, and wall restoration in various buildings.
I'll make the motion.
Okay. Second on that?
I'll second.
Questions regarding those projects? No. All right, very good. With no questions, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. B, recommendation for K through 5 social studies textbook. Mrs. Scott.
Well, good evening. This year, I really would be remiss if I did not give appreciation to Chad Salzman and the teacher reps. They did a fantastic job helping work through the review process this year. It was rather unique in that everything was virtual. Our meetings were virtual. Our textbook adoption caravan was virtual. That was a first. And we even had the reps that we kind of had narrowed it down to present to us virtually to do the review. Now, some materials were actually sent to the schools so they could get their hands on some materials for the other teachers to take a look at. And these folks served as great liaisons in helping work through that process. So it was unique and challenging, but it was time efficient in many ways, which was great. And they were extremely helpful. Had great questions, very thoughtful. And it was with intention that we ended up landing on a K-1 recommendation that's separate from the grade 2 through 5 recommendation. You can imagine at grades K and 1, so much of the time is spent on literacy instruction. That's the foundation for what they do on a daily basis. And of course, math and everything else. But they really wanted something that was user-friendly for the kids. They really did not want something online at K-1 because so much is done online that they wanted something they could have their hands on. So I would say this is an upscale weekly reader type concept. You're all familiar with weekly reader, but this is much improved, I guess, over that. So that's what the K-1 Studies weekly recommendation is. At grades 2 through 5, the McGraw-Hill Impact resource is what we're recommending. And it comes, the way this is packaged, it comes in a bundle. And in the bundle is included, everything is available digitally, so it can be accessed digitally, which is great, but also includes a research companion in lieu of a textbook that sort of replaces that. And one of the things the teachers really loved about this one is it includes an inquiry journal. So there'll be required writing as part of it, which is a great way to incorporate literacy expectations, language expectations as part of their social studies work. And they also, of course, teachers' editions, and then teachers have access to all kinds of resources digitally as well that they could use to help support their instruction in the area of social studies. So those are our recommendations for the K through 5. We still call it textbook adoption. It's really instructional materials adoption, but it's an old school term that just doesn't go away, it seems. And I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. All right, I'd like a motion to approve the materials as presented by Mrs. Scott for social studies. Okay, a second?
I'll second.
Any questions?
Can I ask you a quick, so, in regards to the 2 through 5,
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned that the book that they receive is more research-based.
Mm-hmm.
So is the textbook or the actual online piece, or is there not necessarily a textbook?
They call it a research companion that is the textbook, and it's available online as well as the kids. They really felt like the kids needed to have hard copies to reference as well at
Sure.
that age. They just weren't ready to go exclusively digital when it comes to that material.
Okay, so research is the new word for textbook, I see. Okay. Okay.
And they've really, which is a good thing, they've kind of gotten away from the old school way of thinking about a textbook, everything you ever wanted to know was in there, because
Right.
usually a textbook just kind of scratches the surface. Instead, they kind of layer materials and resources to help support the delivery of the learning expectations.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I would just say, I think it's great that there's a writing component with it as well, because, I mean, as I've watched my kids move through, that's just so important
It
in
is.
every level, and to start that really young with some meaningful writing is great.
And sometimes you have to have a writing instrument in your hand
Mhm.
and write. It isn't always, the best to do it through technology.
Yeah. Sure.
A good combination.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything else on that? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes. Item C, approval of 21 through 2022 curricular material rentals and fees. Mr. Tate?
Yes, I do not use the phrase textbook rental. I use curriculum materials rental.
There you go.
So, we are moving on to
We have moved up.
So, in your information there, I provided you what is current for the elementary grades K through 5, 2020, 2021, and the recommendation for the 2021-2022. So you'll see comparison by grade.
Okay.
Also provided for grades 6 through 12, the way the curriculum materials fee and rental is decided for a student is by the courses they take. So each 6th grader could be different. Each 12th grader could be different depending on the courses they take. So that's why you see those listed by course for the middle school and the high school.
Okay.
So recommend at this time those curriculum material rental fees for the upcoming school year.
Okay. All right, very good. I'd like a motion to approve the 2021 through 2022 curricular material rentals and fees as presented.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay. Any questions on those?
Yeah, if you could just explain to those who can't or may have financial hardships what the process is for this.
Certainly. So when they enroll their student, if they go through the process to look for free or reduced lunch application, within that application, there's a box that they need to check for curriculum materials assistance. So then their income is reviewed by a rubric, and if they qualify either for free or reduced lunch, and some people are direct cert into the system and they automatically qualify. So if they qualify for either one of those, then these charges are waived. And then the state reimburses us for part of that, and the difference of that you'll see will be part of our debt service budget, that we can levy the difference of that to keep this fund in the black.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Thank you
Motion
for the
passes.
curricular rental and fees for 2021, 2022.
Just to be clear. Okay. Item D, request approval of Winston Terrell Group contract. Dr. Milliman?
Thank you, Mrs. Keith. I bring for your review this evening a contract with Winston Terrell Group. This contract would be for a duration of 6 months to assist with public outreach and communications for various initiatives, including expanding outreach to our residents, parents, and developing various outreach documents, working with our staff to coordinate and design videos to highlight our successes, assist with media outreach, providing data for use with mailings, drafting and help with replacement of opinion pieces in local media, and attending regular meetings with us to review that process. They will also be tied into another item I'll be bringing next to you in partnership with Colfax Communications as well as our communications office. Their expertise goes above and beyond our communications abilities, in that they have expertise in outreach in the type of information we're going to be getting to our public regarding our capital planning process, and to prepare the community for how that will impact the community and maybe what the community's role is in helping that happen ultimately. So Winston Terrell's worked with many districts throughout the state of Indiana, really throughout the country, but over 75 districts, I believe, in Indiana for this type of outreach. So I'd bring it for your consideration this evening. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. I'd like a motion to approve the Winston Terrell Group contract, please.
I'll make that motion.
A second on that? Okay. Any questions or discussion on that item? I'll just say I had the opportunity in a virtual format
Yes.
to meet Mr. Winston, and I was very impressed, and I think he can provide us a lot of help that we're going to need in the coming months, and he's very qualified. I think we're in good hands
Yes,
with him.
for sure. And part of those those meetings with us might include meetings at this public board meeting. So at the request of the board, when we're moving through this process, at any point in time, Mr. Winston and I can provide updates for the board, as well as Jen Totterud on the progress. So, and I would encourage the board to invite him to these meetings as well as we move forward.
Yeah. Anything else on that? All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, contract is approved.
Thank
Item E, going along with that?
Yes, I mentioned briefly, Colfax Communications kind of works in tandem with Winston Terrell. Again, some different layers of expertise to help with that process, including things like targeted IP, advertising, things of that nature, that will reach various demographics within our community, and just leverage our information at a little bit higher level over the course of this 6-month span. We do a great job in our communications office, but this is such a additional information and so much voluminous information to get to our community that we've been working on in our stakeholder groups thus far. That this expertise will help us distill that into manageable bite-sized messaging to our community, and so we're excited to get, well, we've already kind of gotten started. We're really excited to get started with the conversations with the group.
Okay, very good. I'd like a motion to approve the contract with Colfax Communications.
I'll motion.
Okay. And a second on that?
Second.
Okay. Any questions about that? Yeah. And again, I would just say, I think they provide expertise that we're going to need, and just some technical abilities that we don't
Right.
have in-house that they're able to
Yeah,
provide for us.
access the database, making them
Mhm.
move smoothly and quickly.
Yes.
Yes.
So, okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 10, update on Vision 2025 stakeholders.
Yes, thank you, Mrs. Keith. It has been customary now to give the board an update on our stakeholder meetings thus far. We conducted our session 3 last week. That was a review of our demographic study work, as well as some of the new information we know about developments within our community. And I reminded that group, but I think I need to continue to remind the group that it's hard not to think in terms of permanent solutions. When you think that this is a permanent solution, there really isn't a permanent solution in a school district. We're really looking to be in a good position in 2025 to react appropriately to the next 10 years of growth and development in the Lebanon Community School District. We're going to think about that in terms of being smart about that. So this last session, we went through the 2019 demographic study. We met with Dr. McKibben, who layered in information about our current housing market, our current housing developments situation, and some emerging data that he shared with the group that's emerging from the 2020 census. The 2020 census hasn't been certified yet, but the demographers from around the country are distilling that information now, going through that and analyzing that information now. So he does have some preliminary thoughts about how that census data may affect the Midwest, towns like ours. So one of the takeaways I think that are important from session 3 is that we should prepare for approximately 1% growth per year over the next 10 years. We got to keep that as our target based on what we know about our current sales of new and existing homes. Our current annual sales are approximating the number that would typically result, I shouldn't say will result because it's a forecast, but would typically result with the information that we know in about 1% of growth per year over the next 10 years. We also know, just from the nature of growth in a growing school corporation, that growth is typically seen in grades K through 5. As you begin to see more of an influx of the 18 to 44 age group buying homes, young families, young couples, and then raising their families in the communities that are in the homes, typically your growth will be seen at the K-5 level. So therefore, our elementary schools need to have the capacity, and not just a capacity in the number of seats available, but the capacity to deliver instruction in a modern, well-equipped facility. We have wonderful facilities, but we also know that there's emerging trends in education that we need to be able to react to. And from the outset, we have shared with the Vision 2025 group that one of the goals, primary goals, is that our students have an equal experience from a facility standpoint, regardless of which elementary school they attend. So that will signal to our parents that no matter what school my child is in, I know they were having that. They'll never be exactly equal because they're not the same age, they're not the same footprint, they're not the same design, but the same amenities, the same opportunities in each of the elementary schools. So I think those are the main points that are the takeaways from session 3. Session 4, which will be, I think we're going to maybe move it to the 13th of May now, off of the awards night evening. So stay tuned for that. We're actually going to share some potential solutions with the group. That's what we've been working toward in these first 3 meetings. And I know that we've been asked, well, what are we going to do about it? Like, well, that's session 4. We want to show you how we got here.
got it.
Right. And so we are going to do that. And I would encourage folks that are watching the board meeting this evening to keep their eyes out for that, because post March 13th, somewhere I would say within a week or 2 following that meeting, we will post the documents, we'll post the presentation on our website, and we would encourage the community to see that. It's exciting times. I've said it many times, we have a great story to tell here. We're in an excellent position to be able to do this work, but we need to be smart, and we need to make sure that we're reacting to our reality and not maybe a perception of a reality, and that's going to be the challenge for us. So I appreciate all of your attendance at those meetings. I think they've been helpful, and just looking forward to the next stage and next phase.
Okay, great. Thank you. It's been good to get the feedback too.
Yep, thank you.
All right. B, under information, update on the LHS Charisma and Spain and France trips.
Do you have that update on the Spanish trip? That would.
We sent over the recommendations.
Okay. There no more updates than we had, and other than what we sent in the original packet?
Right.
All right, thank you.
Okay, great.
you.
So, all right, very good. Okay, upcoming board meetings and events. Our next meeting here is May 18th, May 25th, last student day, and May 29th, graduation.
Yeah, how about that? Graduation.
Have to say that kind of fast.
Uh-huh. It's going to sneak up on the Keith
It
household.
sure is.
Yes.
Anything else, anybody? Okay, if there are no further items, we are adjourned.